got another Clouds Factory. This is Gingerbread House. And this is going to be stitched on 28 count opalescent Lugana in the color Kione, or Kione, however you pronounce that. And Blinged Out Ralphie is going to be my needle minder. Next is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitcheries Leaning Tower of Macaroons. And my needle minder actually broke, which is great. But it's not going to take much to get it back together. I just got to glue it, but it was a macaroon. See, cute. But it broke. Awesome. So this is going to be stitched on a piece of Jodery Designs Holmesy Hair. It's the 28 count Cashel linen. Come on. Put my broken needle minder back in there. Next is Land of the Free from Willow Hill Samplings. There's my little patriotic needle minder. So that and Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. And there's my needle minder. These are both going to be stitched on a piece of Edinburgh linen, 36 count by Picture This Plus in the color Ale. Alright, the next new start is going to be Harvest Delivery and Halloween Delivery, both from Plum Street Samplers. That's my needle minder for that one. That one's from Molly. And the needle minder for that one. I think that one's from Julie. And those are both going to be stitched on a piece of, this is from Barbarol Creations. They're on Etsy. This is a 32 count linen in the color Old Witch Cape. So I thought that was really pretty. Next up is Primitive Hair. Sorry, I gotta move, guys. I always make that same stupid mistake of crossing my legs. Ah. Alright. Uh-oh, I lost a needle minder somewhere. It's probably stuck to another project. Alright, this is Primitive Hair Lizzie Borden. And another poison bottle for my needle minder. Stitching this on a piece of Primitive Hair linen, the Berlin linen, and it's the linen with all the writing on it. I think somebody else is also stitching that pattern on this fabric, but I think they wine stained it like I did the other linen to make it look blood stained. stick with me here. Alright, next is Kathy Barrick, Tonight is Halloween. And that is going to be stitched on a piece of, what is this, Zephyrus, 28 count linen, opalescent from Under the Sea Fabrics. That's my Nightmare Before Christmas bottle cap needle minder. Next is Halloween Resurrection by Lone Elm Lane. My needle minder is Edward Scissorhands. And I'm going to be stitching this on a piece of Olympus from Under the Sea Fabrics. This is a piece of Jobelin. This is the other half of the piece that I used for oh goodness, Halloween Cove, there we go, by the Bay Needlework, which you guys will see here in a little bit. Next is this is another primitive hair out of the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher 2016 fall issue. So that's what that one looks like. And this is the Pickety Witch, which if you guys have ever seen Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, in one of the very first scenes, once he gets into Sleepy Hollow, once Ichabod gets into Sleepy Hollow, Katrina Van Tassel is singing a song of the Pickety Witch. So there's that, and I'm going to be stitching that on a piece of Jude Design fabric in the color Old Moss. And my needle minder is Witch Riding the Broom. Next is the Prairie Schoolers Nevermore. There's my needle minder. It says Mysterious. It's going to be stitched on a piece of I don't know because I don't have it written down. But here it is. I think this is a hand dyed by Stephanie. I'm not sure. I have it written down what this is somewhere, but not here. Next is Christmas House by the Bright Needle. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Winterbrook from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's 28 count opalescent Lugana. That's my Christmas Story Bottle Cap needle minder. Casey Buonagurio carrot cake sampler. All of these Casey patterns are out of print. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Autumn from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's a 28 count opalescent Lugana. And my needle minder is the same needle minder I used for one of my previous finishes. It's a little cake. So we're at an hour and 21 minutes already. Oh goodness. We have a whole nother half of a side to go. These next few are all Casey Buonagurio. This is Strawberries and Cream sampler. And this is going to be stitched on a piece of Irene. It's a 28 count opalescent Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. And my needle minder is a little honey pot. Next is the Irish Cream sampler. And this is a hand-painted fabric from, it's called Whispering Pine. It's from the Crossed Wing collection. And that's the color. And my little needle minder is a little Irish dress. Next is Cherry Cheesecake sampler. And my needle minder is a little fabric button. And that's my fabric. I don't know what the fabric is. Beige piece of even weave. Alright, next is Cherished Stitches, a Quaker Halloween sampler. And there's my needle minder. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Cashel linen, 28 count. This is a solo die. This is from Silk Weaver. I sent Emily a piece similar to this. Next is Prairie Schoolers All Hallows Eve. And my needle minder is a little Hocus Pocus bottle cap. Stitching this on a 28 count piece of Pandora, I think, from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Next is Helga Hags Beauty Bag from Raise the Roof. And my little Chanel perfume bottle needle minder. This is being stitched on a piece of 28 count Fruit Punch Hand Dyed by Stephanie linen. Next is the Halloween quilt sampler from Rosewood Manor. Remember when I said I'd never stitch one of these again? Here we are. This is being stitched on a piece of 32 count Jobelan in the color Lucky from Ship's Manor. And a little Jack and Sally needle minder. Next is, I've got two. This is the Prairie Schooler When Witches Go Riding and Pumpkin Patch. These are both going to be stitched on a piece of, this was the September Primitive Fabric of the Month from Ship's Manor. It's a piece of 32 count Belfast. It just says September Prim for the color, so I don't know what the color is, but here are the needle minders I'll be using. I think that's really pretty color. Next is, this is Berkshire Beehives by Rosewood Manor. And I'm actually stitching this on the called for linen, which I found at Needleworker's Delight. It's a 36 count Berkshire hive linen. See the little beehive pattern it has? How cute is that? You can kind of see it. It's really faint in the pattern, but oh my god. I have hair in my mouth. I can't get it. All right, next is Sisters of the Broom from Not Forgotten Farm. And my needle minder is a little Witch's Brew. And then the second pattern I'm going to be stitching on this piece of fabric is out of the 2016 Just Cross Stitch Halloween issue. My needle minder is a little steampunk key. I believe the key is the pattern that I'll be stitching out of this magazine. The skeleton key, which is, no, that's not it, is it? No, it is the key, page 55. Yeah. It's this pattern. So I'll be stitching both of those on a piece of Wexford linen in the color Monster Mash. It's a 32 count. Why can I never get these folded back correctly? Oh my goodness. Could never work in a department store. Can't fold to save my life. Alright, what is happening here? Close enough. Okay. Then out of the same Just Cross Stitch, I will be stitching the Sugar Skull Pillow. Where is it? There it is, page 53. No, that's not it. Page 40. So organized. this pattern, I will be stitching on Jodiery Designs. This was from November 2015, the Dia de los Muertos fabric. It's a 28 count. And the last one on this side of the bin is Quaker Gone Poe from Michelle Inc. This is going to be stitched on a 28 count Cashel linen in the color Frightful Pumpkin from Silk Weaver. Alright, next is By the Bay Needle Art Halloween Cove. And Grave Dust, I think is what my needle binder says. Yes. No name needle binders, there we go. That's Kate's needle binder company, that's where I got that one from. This is being stitched on the other half of that piece of fabric I just showed you. That's all I got done on this so far. This is not a page worth of stitching. This is, I think I stitched on it for a week and then just moved on. Alright. The next soon to be started is Stacy Nash Primitives Halloween at Hollyberry Farm. I think Olivia started this one. And I am stitching this on another Barbarell Creations fabric. And this is, what color? Tin Roof. And it's my little Jack needle minder. And this is fabric. It's a fat quarter, but since my folding skills are not the greatest, I'm not going to fold it completely out. It'll take longer to fold back together. Okay, next is Stacy Nash Primitives House of Berries Chapel Road, Miss Baxter's house. And this is going to be stitched on a piece of 28 count gingham scuppernong by Weeks Dye Works. It's little green linen, or green gingham. I have to speed this up a little bit. Next is Jardin Privé's ABC de Maison. That's what that looks like. And there's my needle minder. And the fabric I'm going to be stitching this on is a 28 count Amore, or Amore, hand dyed by Stephanie. Next is Little House Needleworks Lantern Lane, and this is going to be stitched on a piece of 32 count Belfast linen from Jude Designs in the color Grandpa's Sleeve, which is the same color that I'm using for the Rampant Cats sampler. My needle minder is a little Edison light bulb, which Edison, New Jersey tries to lay claim to Thomas Edison. He was born in Ohio. Okay, next is Not Forgotten Farm, Witches in the Air. How great. Now a police siren. Mellow Hocus Pocus needle minder. I'm going to stitch this on 28 count Opal Lugana in the color Hamlet from Under the Sea Fabrics. This is the purple. Next is Stacy Nash Primitives Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. This is being stitched on another jute design fabric in the color Long Coffee. It's kind of similar to the fabric that they used in the model stitch. Yeah, it's actually really similar. They used a R&R reproduction linen in the color Mink. This is my needle minder. Next is another Jardin Privé. This is Quaker de Halloween. And this is being stitched on a piece of, this was the August 2015 Fabric of the Month from Jodery Designs. Oh, this is Regal Peacock. What color? If this is Regal Peacock, then what color did I stitch the Edgar Allan Poe one on? I'm not sure. I would have to get the, it's back at my desk. I think that will be really pretty on that. All right, next is another Stacy Nash Primitives. This is House of Berries, Chapel Road, Turkey Hollow Farm. And there's my little needle minder. This is going to be stitched. I got this from Needleworkers Delight. They have a bunch of different colors of the Weeks Dye Works gingham linen. This one is straw. But they have like a blue and a purple and a darker, maybe not darker, but like a brighter green than the green that I just showed. Next is Not Forgotten Farm, which is Garden Sampler. Emily has started this one. I don't know, has she finished it? She may have by now because I haven't been watching FlossTube for months. I'm going to be stitching mine on a piece of the August Prim Fabric of the Month from Ship's Manor. It's a 32 count Belfast. This is my needle minder. That green is so pretty. It's got like browns in it. I love his Prim line. I'm glad I switched from the regular to the Prim for the Fabric of the Month. Alright, next is 2 Plum Street samplers. This is Liberty's Welcome. And my needle minder is a key. And this is American Sampler. And again, I have my key needle minder. And those are both going to be stitched on a piece of Weeks Dye Works 35 count linen in the color Cimarron. It's a fat half. Got that on sale from ABC Stitch a long time ago. Next is another Plum Street sampler. This is Autumn U. I just have a fabric covered needle minder. This is going to be stitched on a piece of 28 count raw natural linen. Next is Hugg River Halloween sampler. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Picture This Plus Lugana in the color Mystic. It's just like a blue. Next is Spring Delivery by Plum Street Samplers, and this is going to be stitched on a piece of April Showers by Ship's Manor. It's a 32 count Jovelin. Next is Foxwood Crossings, it's Halloween. My Jack Needleminder. This is going to be stitched on Mayflowers by Ship's Manor, 32 count Jovelin. Next is Home of a Needleworker, Little House Needleworks, just a raw linen. Next is Told in a Garden, Blueberry Homecoming. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Dames of the Needle Linen, 32 count in Cherry Pit Brown. You guys can see that color through there. I'm trying to speed up, so you may not be able to get the whole gist of the fabric, but... Alright, next is Little House Needleworks, Exodus 2016. This is one of the Salem charts. Emily did a conversion on this. Conversion. Is that the right word that I'm looking for? Oh God. I can't think because my knee hurts. Yeah, conversion, right? That's the right word. She changed it? I think that's the right word. I've shown you guys this piece of fabric before. This is Cashel Linen. It's a solo dye, that really pretty solo dye that I was like, I'm never going to be able to find a piece good enough to stitch on it. This is also the fabric I was looking for. That's an example of what I was saying about fabrics not being exact. Okay, so look how I have it folded. I have it folded perfectly in half. See how the edges don't match up? So that means it's not a perfect fat quarter. So just have to double check your measurements and make sure that you've got the right size for what you're stitching. And that's probably mainly on the solo dies that happens. Because I'm sure if it's labeled 18 by 26, it's an 18 by 26. But on the solo dies, it may not be that way. Okay, next is, oh, see, here's the remainder of my Main Street series from Country Cottage Needleworks. I'm going to be stitching this on a piece of Shimmering Sea Jovelin from Under the Sea Fabrics. We're getting there, guys, slowly but surely. Okay. Next is 3 different patterns are going to be on one piece of fabric. It's a fat half, I think, of Shale by Picture This Plus. These are my needle minders I'll be using. Okay, so the 3 patterns I'm going to be stitching on that is The Addams Family by Plum Street Samplers, Spirits and Spells by Brenda Gervais, and Hallow Day Inn by Brenda Gervais. I've been looking for a piece of fabric to stitch that pattern on forever, and I finally found one. It was just a piece of fabric that I happen to have all along. Next is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. This is going to be stitched on a 35 count Weeks Dye Works linen in the color Kudzu or Kudzu. It's like a pretty green. Next is Winter in the Village from Stony Creek. My Fragile needle minder. This is going to be stitched on a piece of evergreen opalescent Lugana, 28 count from Under the Sea Fabrics. And it has one of my handwritten what threads are going to be needed in this project. If you watched one of Tracy P's videos from way back when, do you want to see what these are written on the back of? Okay, so this one is, so you know the daily desk calendars that you can get from like Barnes and Noble and stuff like that? Okay, well this is, oh, what are those books called? Something John. Anyways, like a toilet, you read it when you're on the toilet. Yeah, I write those on the back of the daily calendar entries. It's repurposing, right? Innovative. So I made all those up for like when I didn't have a full set of DMC. These would be the colors that I would need if I needed to go buy any. So yeah. All right, this is Sarah Elliott's Homeport by Primitive Traditions. And this is going to be stitched on the other half of that wine stained linen. This half doesn't have a wine stain on it, but all right, this is 12 Days of Christmas. This was the freebie from Plum Street Samplers. This is going to be stitched on a piece of 32 count Lugana from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie in the color Frosted Cranberry. I put little post-it notes in the bags that the fabric are in so that I know, like, if they ever get separated, this is the fabric that goes to this pattern. I try to stay organized. It doesn't always work, but this is Spring in the Village from Stony Creek. This is going to be stitched on a piece of As You Wish opalescent linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. And that's my needle minder. Trying to speed this up. We're already at an hour and 48 minutes. This is Witch's Pie by Casey Bonagario. That's my little pumpkin needle minder. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Dreamsicle Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. This is Lemon Meringue Sampler from Casey Bonagario. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Buttercup opalescent Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. Blueberry Pancakes by Casey Bonagario, stitched on a piece of Beach Walk opalescent linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. Next is Summer Haven Inn. Excuse me, this is a Charles Wysocki Dimensions. And I'm going to be stitching this on a piece of 32 count Belfast in the color Vintage Blue Whisper. How pretty is that going to be? Next, I have two patterns for one piece of fabric. All right, so Judith M. Kirby Street Scene Volume 1 and Street Scene Volume 2 are going to be stitched on a piece of Iris opalescent Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. Next is Let Freedom Ring from Lila's Studio. This is This, along with Early Americans, is going to be stitched on a piece of Weeks Dye Works Confederate Gray. That's a fat half. Next is, again, 2 patterns on one piece of fabric. Not Forgotten Farms Brown Egg Farm and Heartland Sampler from Scarlet House. These are going to be stitched on a piece of Copper Penny from Witchelt. You can tell I'm rushing because I'm starting to fumble. Alright, there we go. Next is the Noel Sampler from Brenda Gervais. This is going to be stitched on a piece of 32 count Belfast in the raw linen with the blue petite points. Next is Barbara Anna Designs Long May She Weave on a piece of Witchelt Natural Brown Linen. Next, I can't believe I haven't started this one because I love this pattern. Elizabeth's Needlework Designs Haunted Hollow. And this is actually going to be stitched on the piece that was supposed to be for the Halloween stitch along for Ship's Manor. And it's the piece of Abracadabra. Next is Autumn in the Village by Stony Creek. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Sagebrush opalescent linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. We're almost there, guys. Almost there. Alright, next. That one I'll probably never start. Alright, next is 4 patterns to one piece of fabric. And they are these 4 from Prairie Schooler. I'm stitching those all on a piece of Lycan's Moon, opalescent Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. What fell down? What is this? Oh, this is a Little Wedding from Lizzie Kate. Next is Heap on the Wood by Brenda Gervais. That'll probably be a start soon. And this is going to be stitched on a piece of Coffee and Honey from Jude Designs. It's really pretty. I was just talking to Chris of Chris Cross Stitcher yesterday. About my next video that I'm making, which would be this video, about it being at least a 2-hour video. We're 6 minutes away from that point. Alright, this is Christmas Cottage by Brenda Gervais. This is going to be stitched on this along with Christmas at Winterberry Cabin, which I don't believe I own yet. But it's going to be stitched on a piece of 36 count hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie. I think this is like chocolate milk. Yeah, chocolate milk. Alright, next is 3 patterns to one piece of fabric. Cape Cod Summer, Pickle Barrel Designs, Cape Cod Halloween, and Cape Cod Christmas. All going to be stitched on a piece of 25 count white Dublin linen. I am not a white linen stitcher, but I had that in my stash, so figured might as well use it. Next is Plum Street Samplers Jack's Bash. This is going to be stitched on a piece of Picture This Plus Belfast in Barnwood. This is that fabric that everybody thinks is going to be that pretty deep, like brown and grayish, but it's not. It's like a purple. It's still pretty, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't reflect what it says it's going to be at all. Next is Cottage Garden Witch's Board. It's going to be stitched on a piece of December 2015 Fabric of the Month from Jodery Designs in the color Winter Solstice. Next is Pumpkin Farm. I'm thinking of switching this fabric out for something else. I don't know yet. It's a piece of Jute Design linen in the color Anthracite. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that or not. It's like a brownish gray. Next is Plum Street Samplers, A Ghoul Tide Welcome. And that's going to be stitched on a piece of 32 count Dames of the Needle linen and Smashing Jack. Next is Jenny Bean's Halloween Sampler. This is an out of print pattern. I have the called for threads, but there is not enough. It's like a used pattern. It's going to be stitched on a piece of 32 count, like his hair sticks to everything. Jute Design linen in the color Dirty Linen. So it has the conversion to the, like the normal gentle art threads that you can find, you know, with no problem. But these have specialty threads it was made just for this sampler, and they're almost impossible to find. So if I do stitch it with the called for threads of the specialty, then I'm gonna have to get a smaller count linen, I think, to be able to use those threads. Next is the Hands-On Design coffee, what is this? A whole lot, no, Cool Beans series. I don't think I have all of them yet. I'm not sure. Anyway, gonna stitch them on a 40 count Spilled Coffee by Jute Designs. I thought that was pretty perfect for that. All right, only a few more to go. Next is two patterns for one piece. This is Gardener Good Witch by Brenda Gervais, and Pumpkin Brew by Brenda Gervais as well. This is the June Prim of Ship's Manor, 32 count Belfast. Next is Heartstring Samplery, Baby It's Cold. Oh, Baby It's Cold Outside. And this is going to be stitched on another Jute Design fabric. If I can get it open, here we go. This is Fawn Brown. This was the piece I was originally going to stitch handbook for the recently deceased on, but it wasn't dark enough. So I'm still not positive if this is going to be the fabric I use for this. I'm not sure. We'll see. And last but not least, ABC Halloween by Lizzie Kate. Has the called for threads, and it's going to be stitched on a piece of Brigid opalescent Lugana from Under the Sea Fabrics. Oh my goodness, guys, and we are done. Stick a fork in it. So I've got plenty to keep me busy. I guess I got plenty of time to figure out what I'm going to bring with me to the retreat. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, my legs hurt so bad. So, yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark. Real quick, I'll just tell you about the psychic fair that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. So, I had a tarot reading, and I had a psychic medium visit. Tarot reading was pretty interesting. They tell your future. And it just essentially said the path that I've been thinking about following will be successful if I choose to follow it, which can be said for anybody. I didn't get the death card, so that's good. I had a lot of wands, she said, so, but the psychic reading was the most interesting. I went looking to hear from my dad. As I said previously, way back in my videos, I have no idea which one. My dad passed away when I was 21. So it was interesting. I cried like an emotionally disturbed child when I got back to my car. It's very powerful stuff, whether you believe in it or not. A lot of things that she told me really registered with me. She asked me if I had any questions. Well, okay, let me try to remember everything that she said, because this was a couple months ago. So, first off, the very first thing she said to me was, he's making me feel like he's done this before. So she asked me, she was like, have you gone to a psychic before looking to, hear from him? I said, it's my first time ever being at a psychic. Can I speak to anybody else in my family that may have done this? No, but I also don't know of anybody else in my family who's tried to contact my dad. So that was the first thing she said, that he's making her feel like he's done this before. She said that he has a very dominant personality, which is 100% true. She said it was like, he immediately stepped forward, like she immediately knew it was him, felt him. I asked if he was with anybody else. She said yes. 2 small females, which for me, I could only think of that being my aunt who passed away the Christmas before I got married, so December of 2014. She passed away Christmas Eve. Well, she didn't pass away Christmas Eve. She had a stroke Christmas Eve and never regained consciousness. So essentially, her body was no longer living. Her mind was no longer living. So my aunt and my great-grandmother would be the 2 females that I would think that would be with him. And she also mentioned a young male who towered over everybody else, which would have been my younger brother. My younger brother was at least 6 foot, if not taller. And if you guys have watched my previous videos, you know that he passed away as well around Christmas. We're going on 2 years now. He's been gone. He'll be gone. So that was interesting that she said that. And what other things? I asked her if he was happy with the choices that I made in my life, to which she laughed. She kind of like giggled and said, he says, yeah, because I helped you make them, which I thought was really funny. She said that he's a penny person, particularly. She said he was a coin person, particularly pennies, which if any of you guys have heard about that, that's how spirits show that they're around, is they leave random coins in places that they wouldn't normally be, or you'll find a lot of coins, or so on and so forth. Which is funny because that night we went to the city, we went to New York City, and we were boarding the subway, and I looked down at the running board of the train car, and there was a penny. I was bringing up a load of laundry one day, and a penny fell out of the laundry basket. I think I was getting in my car one day, and there was a penny right by the door. Okay, so before I went to see her, in my mind, this sounds so weird to try to explain this because you guys probably think I'm crazy. In my mind, I told myself, like, okay, if this is real, if I'm really going to connect with my dad, there's one thing that I want to happen that will prove to me that I truly connected with him. A lot of people don't know that I have a nickname, and it was a nickname that my dad gave to me as a young child. And not many people know what it is. It's something I kind of keep close to my heart because that was him. You know what I mean? He gave me that. And there were other members of my family that called me by my nickname. Sadly, there's only like 2 left now that do. But my dad was the one that started it and gave me the nickname. So I kind of thought about that in my head. Like, okay, if this is really true, if it's really you I'm connecting with, have her mention something that pertains to that, and kind of as a way for me to know. So she kind of sort of in a way touched on it, because she said something like, he keeps taking me back to something in your childhood, but I can't connect with what it is. Whether you can say that was it or not, I don't know, but I can tell you that I was a young kid when he gave me that nickname. So, trying to think if she said anything else. I only had 20 minutes with her. Yeah, I think it was 20 minutes. She asked me if there were ever moments that I just felt like I felt really anxious, or I felt like crying for no reason, which has been happening a lot, probably in the past few years. She said if you do ever feel that way, that's him trying to connect with you. She did mention that there was one main event in my life that has happened since he passed that he's very sad that he didn't get to be part of. What I think that is my wedding, which you guys can say, oh yeah, well anybody can guess that, if she knows that your dad died when you were 21 and you're 31 now, like, pretty safe to say that within that time span you got married or you had a baby. Or she didn't come right out and say what it was, but in my mind what that registered with was my wedding. I got married on my dad's birthday. He obviously was not there to walk me down the aisle. So to me, that's what that reference towards. So, and like I said, you know, it was very emotional. Whether it's true or not, it's still, you know, just the thought of being able to connect with someone who's passed over again. I think it just kind of messes with our minds anyways. And, you know, for it to be my dad who, you know, I tell my husband all the time that I don't even remember, I'm trying not to cry, I'm sorry. I don't even remember the sound of my dad's voice anymore, which is really upsetting. And it's upsetting to think that one of the last visions in my mind that I have of my dad is him lying on his deathbed. And it's just, it's hard to deal with those things because, you know, like when I think about my dad, that's the first thing, because it's the most recent memory that I have of him is saying goodbye. And now it's like I have new memories, kind of. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, if anybody else has gone to a medium or had some kind of paranormal something happen with a relative that they were close to that passed over, share your stories because I'd love to hear them. Sorry, I got mushy there for a second. I really apologize. Okay, so I know we're 2 hours into this. All right, so you guys remember the whole 20 things about me thing that was happening a while ago? I obviously did not participate in that because I wasn't doing videos and stuff back then, but I was nominated by a couple people to do one. So just really quick, I'm gonna run through what I have. So 20 things about me. Number 1, love video games. Survival horror is my favorite genre. Number 2, I'm a certified mixologist, which, if you know what that is, it's a fancy word for bartender. I've never worked in a bar in my life. I was 24 when I got certified, and taking that class, I realized the places you're gonna make all your money is like your clubs and stuff like that. Places where it's very loud, and I have horrible hearing. So I was like, how is this really gonna fit for me? So I got certified and never took a job for it. So there's that. Number 3, I have really weird phobias. I don't really want to get into them here, but like, here's an example of one of them, propellers. Yeah, like boat propellers. You can laugh, it's okay. My husband laughs all the time. I don't know, they just freak me out. They like make my skin crawl if I think about them for too long. When I was a kid, a teenager, I went to a Titanic museum. I've been to tons of them. This one was really cool. It was, I want to say this was Orlando, Florida, the one that we went to. The very first room that we walk in. Okay, so you walk in, doors here, you walk in, the other door is over here on this wall. Well, what do you think is sitting right next to that doorway? A big ass propeller right beside this doorway, and I have to walk next to it to get into the next room, right? To see the next exhibit. So what do? I take my mother and I wedge her between me and this thing, and I literally like duck walk sideways through this door. Yeah, that really happened. So moving on. Number 4, I'm obsessed with the paranormal, and I used to take vacations centered around that. I've been to Chicago, been to Key West, and done haunted stuff, been to Salem, I've done overnights. I think I've talked about this before in my previous Halloween videos. Been to Waverly Hills overnight, been to Mansfield Reformatory overnight, been to Prospect Place overnight. Want to go to Eastern State, but they're so ridiculously expensive now. I think the most I ever paid for an overnight was like $50, and now they want $150 for an overnight. That's just ridiculous. Number 5, I was in 4-H as a kid. I went for quilting. Number 6, I've always wanted to go to school for culinary arts, which is, I've been really considering going back to school for that lately, which kind of ties into the whole tarot reading I had. At least that's what I'm assuming it was about. Number 7, I'm convinced I was born in the wrong time period. I think I've talked about this with you guys before. I just feel so at home when I'm in like historic villages or, you know, just museums that are, especially like the colonial era or like the Victorian era, the industrial era. Those are the time periods I feel like most at home at. I don't know why. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. Anyway, number 8, I have a nickname given to me by my father that not a lot of people know about. Number 9, I met my husband by chance 16 years ago on a cruise when I was 15 and he was 17. I think I talked about that a little bit in my very first video. Number 10, I used to own a restored 67 Chevelle. It was my dad's. We still have it, but I signed it back over to my uncle when I moved to New Jersey. Number 11, I also used to own a 2006 Ford Mustang. Yes, I did. Mustangs have always been my favorite and will probably always be my favorite, but I will probably never own another one because I live in a northern state and they're just not practical. That's why I got rid of mine, and I traded it in for my Jeep that I have now. And I will probably forever own Jeeps. I love them. Number 12, I have anxiety and am prone to panic attacks in certain situations. For example, flying, needles. You want to see me have a freaking panic attack in 0.2 seconds, take me to a hospital or a doctor's office and tell me that I have to get vaccinated or my blood drawn. Number 13, while I love babies, I've never wanted children and feel like my childhood played a part in that, along with the fact that I believe I would die in childbirth because I would have a heart attack from having panic attacks because they have to cut me open or put needles in me. Number 14, I, hand to God, have never done an illegal drug in my life. Not even pot. Nope. Number 15, I have no tattoos, but I have a few body piercings. I have partially abandoned floss tube for podcasts. Number 17, I hate social media, particularly Facebook. I have Facebook because I moved out of state. I did not even make my own Facebook page. My best friend did because she got upset that I didn't have a Facebook. Facebook for me, I saw one meme or whatever you want to call that posted in Facebook that basically summed up everything I feel about Facebook. What it said was, I liked my friends and family so much more before I knew their innermost thoughts and feelings. Truth. That is why I don't like Facebook. People get on there and they're just running rampant, just keyboard cowboys everywhere. People hide behind a screen and just feel like they can say whatever they want to say and they don't think before they post, and it's so much drama, and I hate drama. Oh, I can't stand it. I'll laugh at it if you want to tell me about it, but as far as it occurring in my life, no. Number 18, I love history and would love to become a historian. Number 19, I love everything Tim Burton. Oh, that's a surprise. Number 20, coffee is my spirit animal, along with macaroni and cheese. So that's my 20 things about me. I'm on 20% battery, so I should probably go. We're almost at 2.5 hours. Here's hoping that this video uploads. yeah, so I'm gonna sign off for now. It's been great seeing you guys. I will try my best to go back to having my videos be kind of consistent, at least monthly. So yeah, until next time, guys. Bye.